When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and in life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. I'm super excited today to be talking to my good friend Mike Price from Alpharetta, Georgia. How you doing today, Mike?
Hey, Andre, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Yeah, same here. It was great to see you in Orlando, the conference there this past week. It was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great, man. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be out and be seen. And Ed Milet, wow, what about that guy? That was a great keynote, wasn't it?
Yeah. I never met him before. Heard about him, but never met him, and it was phenomenal. Everyone in the room was either laughing, crying, or somewhere in between. I'm definitely going to get his book. Was it just one more? So that's kind of next on my list. But hey, everyone, thanks for joining us in the Financial Freedom Forever podcast today. Really excited to introduce Mike to you and kind of hear his full real estate story. He's been a licensed agent since 1998. Started part-time, just like myself, but then got in full-time in 2000, I think, and he'll kind of share his story about the different brokerages that he's been to and where he's at now. But I know this past year he did 41 million in volume and over 100 units. So we want to be listening to what this guy has to say. So thanks again for joining us today, Mike.
Hey, Andre, I appreciate it. Great to be here. Thank you.
So let's just jump right in and kind of tell us a little bit about your background and your story.
Well, yeah, man. Well, we were talking pre-show, and I don't talk about my personal story too much, but I want to share a little bit of it today because it really ties into the business story, right? So, I'm an Atlanta native, been here my whole life, and I got my real estate license in '98, but I did it very part-time for a lot of years, and part of that reason was because when I was a younger man, I did a lot of drinking and partying. I like to hang out. And, I'll be 15 years without a drink and sober this year. I mean, this August. And
congratulations. That's a big deal, man. Thanks,
man. And I tell people that because, and Ed Milet really motivated me to share it because he shared a similar story. And, I was in real estate and I was not really doing it very well. I was part-time. I was doing a lot of drinking and staying up late and just not really focusing. And, I wasn't really going anywhere. And I finally hit that place where they say you have that aha moment where you realize you can't really drink anymore. And I hit that aha moment in 2008. And it was then that the light bulb went off. And I really decided, I've got a really good thing here. I've got a real estate license and I know a lot of people and I can probably do really well. And so I started out like everybody, trying to figure out how to get business. And I was recruited by a good friend of mine, John Fountain. He was my team leader at Keller Williams. He saw something in me, and he stayed on me for 18 months. He called me 18 months. I even told him, I said, "Don't ever call me again." I said, "Don't ever call me again." I said a little more colorful language, but I said, "Don't call me anymore." And he brought me in, and he took me under his wing, and he basically showed me, "Hey, listen, you have the skills that you can turn into a profitable business." So. That was with Keller Williams. I started there in 2008. Well, back up, I was Coldwell Banker in 1998, Remax in 2000, and I just was kind of muddling around. Moved to Keller in 11, and I started, I did about 10 deals from August to the end of the year, and the light bulb went off, and I really figured out, here I know how to get some business, and I've got a great sphere, and I started really working that sphere, and the next year, 2012, I remember I had 5 closings in like March, and he said, "Hey, John Fountain said, hey, you're gonna hire an assistant." And I was like, "No," and I did, and the rest is kind of history. I went from 24 units in 12 to 50 something the next year, 56, and then 65 the next year. And I started 75, and I kept adding people, adding operations people, adding agents. Agents come, agents go, operations come and go. And till we got to here in the last couple of years, we've been a mega team that does, north of 40 million and 100 units. So it's been a wild ride. I couldn't have done it unless I got sober and took it serious. And so it's for those of you out there that think you can't do it, you definitely can. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's a big deal. That's great story and going to inspire, I'm sure, many people listening. So thanks for being vulnerable and sharing your personal history as well.
I hope so. Yes.
So were you unhappy at KW? Why did you take a look at EXP? I mean, how did all that come together?
Well, I wasn't unhappy. I was happy. I mean, I was doing well. It was growing. We were, making money. I didn't realize how much I was paying until I left. But I kept bumping into scenarios where I was reaching out to others that were ahead of me, that were doing more than me, double, triple, and it was hard to get people to. And let me preface it. This is some really, really wonderful people who I'm still friends with, but it was hard to get, people to open up and give you their playbooks and give you, here's how I got 70 listings last year. Here's how I closed 130 deals last year. It was just kind of very surface. And so I just kept, I've hired a coach, and I kept getting on airplanes and going to events. And I just kept trying to figure out how to get, to that proverbial next level.
Right.
And a good buddy of mine, Stacy Wyatt, who I had, we had been, side by side for years, Keller Williams doing deals, and we were, doing about the same business every year. And he said, "Hey, have you heard about EXP?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got somebody that's mentioned it, but I'm not interested. I think it's a new company or something." And he said, "Well, I'm gonna look into it." And so he looked into it, and he came back and he goes, "Man, I think I'm going to join this company." And I was like, "Wait a minute. You got a $30 million team. You're like one of the top guys." And we were both in the same market center. You're one of the top teams in the market center. What are you doing? He's like, "Look, you got to look at this model." And I said, "No, you know what? I'm really happy here. I'm a big fish in the pond, and I like that. And I like all the accolades. And you go do that, and then you come back, and I'll look at you in 6 months, and we'll see where you're at." And so he said, "Fine." And so I kind of kept up. We're still friends. We kept up with him, and I kept seeing his production going up and up and up and up. And he broke this ceiling that he had been at. And I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Man, listen, you gotta take a look at this, man. Don't be." We're friends, and so it was more of he just said, "Mike, brother, get your ego out of the way. Stop. There is something better. Just take a look at it." And I said, "Okay." So I went to his office, and we sat there for about an hour and a half, and he unveiled the model. And I was like, when I really took a look at it, and I mean, really, and Andre, this, I was like, I can't believe this is real. And we spent another 30, 45 minutes going over it. And so I still, let me call some folks. So I called, Dan Beer, who's in our group, in our, Stacy sponsor. And Dan said something very powerful. He said, "Mike, if you move over to EXP tomorrow, nothing changes for you. You're still going to have to hire people and fire people and find listings and buyers, and your signs will change and maybe your logo. But other than that, you still have to do the business." He goes, "The difference is I have a fiduciary responsibility to help you grow your business. And we are connected by this. We are all owners in the same company. We are all shareholders. And I have a fiduciary responsibility to help you. I don't know that you need at the time he had a $500 million playbook. He goes, I don't know that you need that, but whatever you need is yours." And so he has held that promise, has come true over and over again.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, we have totally different senior partners, right?
Yeah.
We're in the same company, but you have different senior partners above you than I have, like myself. But it has, like what you just mentioned, it is almost unbelievable with the collaboration and how they just open their playbook on anything they have is ours.
And it's not just open the playbook once. It's like it's ongoing, never ending with masterminds and meeting. I mean, I think we have 5 masterminds a week that cover from $1 billion producers all the way to the new agent. I mean, it's just incredible. And it's I guess I heard it best from someone, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Kyle Whistle. The trial and error method is over. I mean, there's no more trying to spend a lot of money over here to figure out if this works, or I'm going to try this system for 6 months, or I'm going to do that. It's all laid out in front of you. And that's how we went, that we did, a huge jump, a $13 million jump in the first year that we came over. It was incredible. And it's like, you're right. It's hard to explain. It's mind blowing when you have access to everybody and everybody's like, hey, we're all in this together and whatever we need to do to help you. And it's a great feeling. It's unbelievable.
And it is pretty cool to understand and know, because I do talk to a lot of, Keller Williams agents, and they're happy, they have a great culture over there. And I know a lot of people just don't think it can get any better.
Yeah.
But you're proof of that, basically, because you were saying even though you're friends and things were good, people wouldn't really just open up their playbook to help you. But the reason being, right, they don't have a financial responsibility or a fiduciary responsibility, and you're not financially connected. Where if they do help you go from 10 million to 20 million to 30 million, there's really nothing in it for them, right?
Well, Keller Williams was, I look back at that as 10 of the best years of my life. I mean, it was, I learned so much, and I created so many relationships with so many different people. And, but it's like all real estate companies are, it's us on the bottom, the agents making all the money, and it filters up to the top to the owner. And it's no different at EXP other than there's us and then the owner. There's no middle in between. There's no regional. There's no OP. There's no team leaders. There's none of that. And insert company, Compass, Sotheby's, Atlanta Fine Homes, whatever it is. It's all basically the same model that's been around for 100 years. The splits are a little bit different, and
right.
There's a little bit better training over here, whatever. But none of them, unless you were lucky and got into a market center at some point with Keller Williams or had ownership in your company. I don't know anybody that has ownership other than a few people I know that have market centers. We're owners. Like, we own the company. We just left the shareholders meeting in Orlando, Florida, where we were at a meeting for shareholders. And to have an equity stake in a company, and I thought the awards were nice, and I liked the little plaques and, hey, top 1%. I kept them. I've got, a stack that high. I can't really do anything with those except tell my son, hey, look, this daddy did really well at his job. Now I have a tangible asset stock portfolio I can put my hands on that's going to pay for his college,
right? Anywhere
he wants to go in the world, and it's paid for, and it's through the ownership of the company. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I share with people as well. Is my 2 boys both went to 4 and 5 years of college, and I started giving money to my stockbroker person the day they were born, and I gave them money month over month for 18 years. And we got one completely paid for at a private college for 4 years. And the second one we paid for 2 years. And we kind of finally ran out of that money that we, because the cost is so expensive. But through the revenue share and the stock portfolio through EXP, paid my son's last 2 years through his college as well, because of the ownership.
Well, a lot of people say, buy a rental house when your kid's born, and then you'll never have to really worry about college. And we did that. We had a house we lived in and kept. But, hopefully our kid, has a full scholarship. We don't.
We lost you a little bit. Sounds like you're having some.
Have to pay. We have to pay for it. We can keep that money, but there's really no. We back? You hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. I think you're back. Your internet might be a little slower. I don't know if you have a lot of things on your opened up that you can close, but I think you're back now.
Okay, I turn my phone off. So yeah, it's a much better scenario because there's a clear path for my family's future, obviously, and it doesn't really include me having to sell homes till I'm 70 years old. You know,
Right.
There's a way out. I can see a way off the treadmill.
That's awesome. Hey, any of our listeners, if you have any questions for Mike, please put them in the comment sections here, and we'll go ahead and ask them. Definitely share this out there on Facebook and on the social media, and get our podcast out there and give Mike some love. But yeah, I really appreciate the background and the stories that you're sharing with us, Mike. Go ahead and tell us when you did sit down for the first time and took a look at the model. What were the top 2 or 3 things that got you to say, wow, and finally helped you make the move?
I say that the number one thing is really when I talked to Dan Beer, and I just asked him, straight up. I said, look, man, I'm hitting the ceiling here, and I'm paying a lot for coaching, and I'm paying a lot for coaching for my team, and it's a big expense. And he goes, Mike, look, that's over. Like, you don't need to do that anymore. And you've got the power of not just me, but Mike, we've got, and at the time I didn't know, hundreds of people in our group that are able to help you. And so that was the number one thing, is the collaboration and having access, because that's what I've always really wanted. And I've got friends that they were nice and helped me, and I hope some of them are watching this, and you guys were all great. But it wasn't full blast access because everybody's busy, right? There's no alignment. There's no fun. It's like they're selling their own, they're doing their own thing, building their own wealth.
Right.
And that was the number one thing. And then when I came over, I realized that being an owner really meant something. Having an equity partnership or equity stake in a company, that really meant something. And I didn't really understand it because my wife's in corporate America and she gets stock awards and things like that. But I didn't get it until I really got in here and started looking at it, because I just came over to sell houses.
Right.
And I realized that at my level of production that I'd hit Icon, and I hit Icon, I've hit it twice, about to hit it the third time in 3 years. And that's basically you're awarded by getting your entire $16,000 cap back in company stock. And I thought that was tremendous. I said, wow, I paid $180,000 in caps at the other place. And I left with some plaques. But there's that. And then also to be able to buy stock and purchase stock from each transaction, that was in itself incredible. And then I think the third thing was, and I didn't really look at this until I was in it for about 3 or 4 months, was the revenue share piece, which is in itself is the ninth wonder of the world. It's the same exact setup as Keller Williams profit share. Exactly. It's the same thing. Glenn Sanford, our owner, hey, Glenn, I hope you watch this. Our owner copied it. And the difference is it's top line revenue here versus profit there. Well, there's no brick and mortar here. So I thought about it and I went, wait a minute. So half of the income for the company goes back into revenue share. And Stacy's like, yeah, man, I've been trying to tell you. And so, I finally went, wow. And so, there's no team leaders here, right? There's no recruiters, which a team leader is. It's up to us to organically grow the company by bringing productive agents into the company. And the light bulb went off, and I know a lot of people. And so I started talking to folks, and folks started talking to me. And I had more people come up to me in the first 18 months and ask me, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And I probably brought in, 20 people in the first 18 months that just were curious. But those are, I guess, the three things: the collaboration, the stock in in a public company, and then the revenue share. The revenue share is incredible. It's another income stream that's just not available at any broker, not any broker. There's a lot of copies now, but
right.
it's not everywhere.
So at the production that you were doing at other companies, you got a bunch of plaques. And did they used to get like a hat as a capper at KW? Do they still do that?
I had a bunch of hats, and they were nice, and they kept the sun out of my eyes, and they were good.
We're not helping the paper.
I know it's the gesture,
Right?
But the hats, are it's nice to be recognized for sure, and I'm proud of the accomplishments that I've made in other agents that I know. But the difference is here, we're given. I mean, Glenn Sanford is, a genius in many rights. He made this a company to where we know you're never going to want to leave because there's too much financial upside. It's in addition to being in a community where you can double your business easily in a few years and have the tools to do that, it's you're growing a stock portfolio and they're sharing the revenue with the company, and it's just beyond incredible. I mean, the profit level that we made in the last 2.5 years blew away what we were doing over there. And, a lot of people that have, I know solo agents that do 50, 80 deals a year. I know team owners that have, 10, 15, 20 people on their team. And I know some small brokerages, and all of those scenarios, if you're a team owner or a small brokerage, it only takes one or two of your top producers to walk out the door and your income drastically declines. And I realize that because, I now have a model, and our team, being around all these crazy high producers, we've been able to streamline our operations. It allowed me to hire the right operations person, which I have Jessica Moltoff. If you're listening, you're the one. She's my operations manager. And to hire the right people and put the right people in place, but know what to do with them. Like, not have to try to figure out how do I help these people do the best they can in their role. And so it's just been a win-win for everybody and everybody in our world. It's just a phenomenal opportunity.
You mentioned, people don't want to leave, which obviously is true. And I understand exactly what you mean there. Have you ever had team members leave your other teams in the past because they were kind of outgrowing the team and want to start their own team? Did you have that problem before?
Oh man, yeah. And it looks like this. Hey, Andre, or hey, Mike. Hey, you got a minute? I really want to sit down and talk. First of all, I want to thank you for everything you've done, man. You got a great setup here, and I really do it, and I love it. And it's been great. I made a lot of money, but I want to do my own thing. And then they're gone. And I wish them the best, and I hope that I feel good. I don't like it when they leave, but I feel blessed that I was able to help them get to a certain level.
Right. The
difference is here, they stay. They don't go to another brokerage. They stay here. So it's a sticky model. It keeps people here. The producers here. There's I don't know many producers that have left. I've known some non-producers that have left, but not really producers.
Let's unpack that a little bit and explain, why do they stay? I mean, the people on your team right now, they're going to start doing better. You're going to give them more training and more help. And at some point they will maybe even outproduce you, and they're going to be ready to do their own thing. Explain why they wouldn't leave.
Well, first of all, they're owners in the company. They're owners in the company, and why would you want to leave something you're a part of and you're helping build? You know what I mean? And what is stock? It's only worth what it's worth the day you sell it. So who knows what it's going to be in 20 years? But that's one reason they don't leave. Plus the training, to kind of touch on the icon and the stock award. The icon, just for anybody out there who doesn't know, is a production level where you are, in order to get the rest of your stock awards, to get your full cap, you have to do some cultural requirements. And part of that is teaching classes to agents. So all of the training in the company is done by people like myself, and even all over the nation, huge agents that are giving back and giving real-time stuff that's happening right now, what they're working on right now that's working. And there's 80 hours a week in the virtual world that you can go and you can watch on in person, virtually, or you can hit the recording. And so that's another reason why people don't leave, because on tap. Everything is on tap. You hit a button, you can see anything. How do you get 10 listings a month? How do you nurture your database? Another reason agents don't leave is a lot of agents I know have brought in, have had friends that have joined the company, and they're getting a piece of revenue share. And some of them are getting a large piece of revenue share. And some are just getting, a few $1,000s a year. But, I know I could name 25 agents right now that just the top of my head that, their car payment is paid for, their mortgage is paid for just from helping other agents see an opportunity. It's incredible.
It's also true that once they get to a level that if they're on your team and you've helped them go from 1 or 2 units a month to 4 or 5 units a month, and now they want to start their own thing, their own team, it's okay for them to leave, the Mike Price team and start their own personal team because they're still within EXP, but you guys still are partners and you're still financially aligned. And in the old model, when they left, like you said, you're happy for them, but geez, you're not financially aligned anymore. Mm-hmm. And you're probably not going to continue spending a lot of time, money, and energy helping your competition, right? But even though they leave your team and to start their own, you're still involved and you still want to mentor and help them and help them get to the next level because you're still financially aligned, correct?
Well, exactly. I mean, there's the I really like you and care about you and want to help you goes so far, but as soon as somebody gets super busy, they've got to take care of their families first. And the way this model is set up, it behooves me to help anybody on my team grow bigger than me. You know what I mean? And by giving them the tools, and not all agents are going to do it. Some they don't take advantage of what you give them, but a lot do. And there's no downside to helping them go to the next level because it actually financially helps each one of us when those people outgrow us. And that's by design with the model. It's designed to do that. So everybody's pouring into everybody. And it's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, just coming back from the conference there, met some new people, some people that I've met with before that we became friends, and we have nothing to do with each other as far as our personal organizations, but we're all in the same company, and we just continue helping each other, and it is an amazing opportunity for sure. One of the things I wanted to mention or ask you about was one of the bullet points that we want to talk about is time freedom. How has this model helped you with time freedom?
So, number one, it's helped my production, which has helped me to get to a point where I've got more opportunities for the team members. And so I don't have to sell as many homes as I used to. But the revenue share piece is, what's going to retire my wife out of her corporate job in a year or two. It's going to be what's going to take me completely off the transaction treadmill. And, a lot of people, don't like to talk about revenue share. And I'm going to talk about it. It is a phenomenal opportunity. And if you are a business owner of any kind and you're not interested in revenue share, you may need to go back and really take a hard look at your business and say, would this be an opportunity? Like Michael Jordan, how did Michael Jordan get so wealthy? It wasn't because he played basketball his whole life. He had revenue share in Nike.
Right.
That's how he got there. And we have an opportunity by helping grow the company, being influential agents like we are, and helping bring productive agents into the company. We are rewarded on a tiering system, exactly like Keller Williams, of top line revenue. And it's instant. As soon as they close, you get paid. And it's every month you get the 20th of the month, you get the deposit. It's incredible. It's like, it's not money for nothing. You're helping folks. But it does offset, a lot of your expenses. It offsets a lot of your, commission if you have 4 deals that go away all of a sudden. Now you've got this nice little pop of money that's helpful, and it grows exponentially as you. The thing is, if you bring 20 or 30 people in, it will grow itself out to 100 or 100 plus people in a year or two, and it starts growing on its own because people are showing other people the model, and it just keeps going. It's just incredible.
I've met a lot of real estate agents, and they, like you said, they're not interested in a revenue share or recruiting in their mind. But what they don't understand is, and they do figure it out afterwards. Many just come just to, to take advantage of the health insurance, or take advantage of the low caps, or the low cost, or all the extra training and the collaboration. They just want to sell more houses. And that's cool. And that's what we want. We only want agents that are interested in selling more houses, because we got to be all selling houses to help the company grow. But what happens, like you said, when you get plugged into a great group like we're part of, and your partners help you, give you everything they have to help you get to that next level, and then your friends that you're still friends with at all the different companies, they start seeing you selling more houses and having more fun. Then they come to you, like you said earlier, and you had, a half a dozen people or so just organically come to see, hey, what are you doing over there? And then once they finally will take a look at it, like yourself, you didn't look at it the first couple of times someone shared it with you, but when you finally did, you can't, what Jay Kinder says, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So they come over to sell more homes, and once we help them sell more homes, then their friends are coming to them to say, hey, what's going on? And then their friends join, and organically they build that revenue share team without trying. I had an independent broker owner that came over 3.5 years ago. And in 3 years, he 5x'd his net income and dropped his hours. He was working 80 hours a week to about 30, 35. And his team in his office went from 13 agents to 40. But he 5 times his net income. And so it's life-changing. But his son, when he came over, he was only 3 years in the business and had sold 20 homes, or 20 or 23 homes, I think, his best year, which is good. That was better than me, my 3rd year of the real estate business. And he told his father, I just want to sell more houses, not going to spend any time whatsoever with recruiting agents. And he put his head down. He started doing a lot of things he was being coached to do. He came to Las Vegas, went to the EXP Con, and just started doing the things that he was being taught by, his peers that are above him. And in his first 12 months, went from 23 to 60 units. Yeah. So he tripled his income, and other people that he knew from other companies were like, what are you doing? You tripled your business over there. And he organically he didn't recruit. He attracted nine agents in the last couple of years. That's turned into over 200. Yeah. So he kind of gets, and he's still today not trying to really build that out. He just wants to sell more homes. But what I'm saying is organically, it's growing. And he just got married recently and went on a 30-day, honeymoon. Who can do that? And being, so young in the real estate business, but because of what he's been able to build and the model, he was able to do that.
Well, you and I both know a lot of the folks in our groups are financially free now. They've been with the company 5, 6, 7 years, and they're fine. They do not need to do anything. They are set. But they're still pouring in. Weekly Monday call, me and you on at 10 o'clock every week. Pouring into us, helping us, anything we need. They're a phone call away. Like it's the culture. That's right. And you said something about, that's the guy's son who went from, 30 to 60 homes. He doubled it, right? Well, what happens when that happens? We go from making X to X. We'll call it 200 to 400,000. And now what happens? Lifestyle goes up to about 400,000. So now you got to keep making that. You got to keep grinding. You bought another house. You got a rental house. You bought a beach house. You got a boat, whatever it is. And you got all these expenses. And if there's any kind of down market, then you're in trouble. And what this company's provided us, in the form of revenue share, that you can, like you said, when you bring people in the company, you attract. I haven't recruited anybody. I mean, everybody that I've brought in, I've mentioned they either came to me or I've talked to them about the model. They liked it. And for every person that liked it and came in, 15 said no. They didn't want to hear. They didn't, because they just not open. They're not ready. The gate's not open. But the revenue share is a key component in getting off of the treadmill one day. I know people that are my age. I'm 53 that have been doing this for 15 years and 20 years, and they're selling a bunch of houses. And I had lunch with a good friend of mine about a year and a half ago, and he said it was in January, and he said, Mike, I had the realization that I got to do this all over again this year after his best year ever. And if he didn't put his foot on the gas, he wasn't going to do that. And this company's allowed us to participate, to benefit off the revenue of the company for helping grow it. And it's getting a lot of people, financial and time freedom. And that's really what we do this for anyway, is to get out of it one day, to have freedom with our families.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? I mean, we get into real estate to be able to control your own schedule, be your own boss, and grow your own business. And we've all done that, but you don't really think, 20, 30 years forward when you do want to slow down someday. And the ultimate pinnacle in our mind as an agent, first you're a solo agent, then you start a team, then you get a bigger team, and then eventually start your own independent company. A lot of us do. And geez, I know a lot of brokers, and especially with the ups and downs of real estate markets, they chuckle and say, broker means broke. And it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Even if you have a good, great, thriving business, there's still a lot of expenses with all the liability, et cetera. But when they're open-minded and will take a look at the model where they can bring over their independent brokerage, just like my friend I was just telling you about, and be able to 5X his income, his net income, he'd be able to shed the liability, shed a lot of the expenses, but be able to do the things that he loves doing, and which is helping his team really grow. But having the financial and time freedom, because he's working 30 hours a week instead of 80 hours a week to keep his machine going. But with the multiple ways of earning income from the stocks, from the agent equity program, the stock awards, revenue share, of course, and of course your commissions and other things that we haven't even mentioned today, it gives us a clear path of having an exit strategy so we can slow down when that time comes, but the income can still be there. So yeah, I thank Glenn Sanford and the good Lord every day for bringing this model attention to me as well.
Well, you said something about brokers. I want to touch on that for a minute. Now, I know people that have their own brokerages and they're successful. And I know the number one thing, and even big team owners, it's something that like we created, right? We want this for us. We're proud of it. And that's great. I mean, I'm proud of what I built. I'm proud of being able to help so many people. But if you're a broker owner, there's a lot of liability. And if you haven't got it sued, you will at some point. And there's going to be a problem at some point, especially if you get big. And I like to tell them, look at EXP as a platform where you can still run your brokerage exactly like you're doing it now. Nothing changed. It's just ABC brokerage, ABC company brokered by EXP. EXP takes all the liability and headache off it, so you can go out and do what you do, and that's what you're the entrepreneur to grow the business. And the revenue share from the brokerages. Anybody wants to find out what that looks? Call Chuck Fazio. Call Kyle Whistler.
Yeah.
Call Al Stacy. See what that looks like when you bring in all your agents with you. Now you have a revenue share group already that will expand exponentially as you grow your brokerage, your team. And so that's just another thing I think it's a misconception. Like this platform is for everybody. I mean, this platform is built for everybody. Broker, team, solo, new, everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And you mentioned Chuck Fazio. He's a good friend of mine now. If people don't know, he was one of the biggest independent brokerages in the nation, had over 900 agents in his own independent brokerage in Arizona. And they partnered up with EXP several years ago. And I know, and I'm sure it's over this now. Last I heard, he had over 6,000 people in his group. and instead of just being in, you know, one little area in the Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona area, now he has partners, you know, all across the U.S., all in several different countries around the world. And here's a guy that, you know, financially was set for life for the amount of business and growth that he had. And I sat down and talked with him, you know, personally before, and you know, he tells a story that he wanted to be able to, once he looked at the model, he figured out that he couldn't give to his agents what he could give if he took his great brokerage and laid it on top of the EXP global platform. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't give them the opportunities and the ownership and everything to help them really, you know, be able to build something like he did someday. And he did it really a lot for his agents. And of course, it's helped him, you know, him and his wife, Angela, to go to all new heights. We actually went with them. He chartered a riverboat, I think it was like 132 cabins or something, riverboat, for his team to go to Europe last year. And he invited me and my wife and a handful of other people, and we went and spent, you know, almost 2 weeks on a river cruise. Wow. with Chuck and his team, and the collaboration and the friendships that came from that. Amy Weaver and some of the other top, you know, the directors, VPs of EXP were there as well with their, you know, with their husbands and wives, and got to know people that much better. But that's the kind of thing that we're able to do. And of course, it's all, you know, it's all business. Everyone on the cruise boat was either from EXP or within the industry, and it was quite something. So that's kind of fun things we get to do all together, and our business continues to grow because of it.
Well, you know, you said something about leadership. You know, we're almost at 90,000 agents, right? That's not little. That's big. It's a big global, one brokerage, no franchises. And you know, the same, you mentioned Amy Weaver, you know, Sean Murphy, like all these people in leadership who we saw, you and I both saw. I think we were in a mastermind with Amy, that Amy led. It is like you have 100% access to these folks. And it's not that they're these C-level people that won't talk to you. They are as driven to help us as anybody else in the company. Yeah. And I mean, like you could never get into a C-level room in most brokerages. You're just not going to ever do it. You can't get past the OP. You'll never talk to the regional guy. And you know, to be able to walk up to Amy and, hey, I've got this team coming over, and what do I do? And she give me a call. Me and Sean will set it up. You know, it's just like, what can we do to help you? And that is that is the community and the culture of this whole place. And it's so much fun to be in a brokerage where everybody is arms extended. How can we help you? I mean, it's an unbelievable scenario.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Sean Murphy and Amy, the VPs of growth, are phenomenal. I talk to them often. Yeah. And they're always, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Just a couple of real quick questions, and I know we both got to run. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Mike, with your organization?
In 5 years, I see my team scaled to the point where I'm completely out of it. On the production side, not out of it, you know, like leadership, but completely out of it. My wife is retired from her career. I've retired her through my revenue share, and I am financially free. I'm living financial freedom as well as anybody can, and continuing to provide a platform to help agents grow their business.
That's awesome. One of the last questions is, if you could do it all over again, Mike, joining EXP, what would you do different?
I would have when Stacy Wyatt told me that he was looking at it, I'd have said, hey, I'm going to join tomorrow. I mean, I just went ahead and done it. If I'd have known, you know, I think one of the biggest regrets I have, I don't have a lot, but I regret that I was so close-minded that I really wouldn't look at what has turned out to be the best opportunity, business and financial and personal, in my entire adult life. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And I wish I would have done it sooner. And I wish I would have, been able to plug in sooner. But here we are. I mean, we're doing great. But I would tell anybody out there, if you're listening to this, I hope that you know that you may be happy where you are, but if you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, you owe it to yourself and your family and your team and your brokerage to always explore another opportunity, to see if there's something better and have an open mind. Don't shut it down before you really know what it is, and just take a look. And there's thousands of stories of people that has changed their lives. I mean, just take a look, be open-minded and take a look. I would have done it a lot sooner if I could do it over.
That's one common theme that I hear a lot. When I talk to other agents and ask them, how they like their brokerage and so forth, most of them like it. They're happy. But I've never had anyone say it's life-changing. It's been life-changing. But that's a common theme when you talk to agents. How do you like your brokerage at EXP? You hear that often. It's life-changing.
It has definitely been a life-changing opportunity for me and my family. I mean, there's no doubt. It's better than any financial investment I've ever made, time investment. Other than marrying my wife, it has been the best decision that I have ever made.
I'm right there with you, Mike.
Yeah.
I always ask the very last question is if you're a movie watcher or a book reader, what's a book or movie that you would like to recommend to our listeners?
I think nobody could go wrong with reading Atomic Habits. That is hands down a phenomenal book. And I just bought Ed Milet's book, The Power of One More. I was so moved by his Ed. I hope you watch this. I was so moved by his keynote. I was one of the ones crying. I mean, I was tears rolling down my face, and I was moved, and I bought his book. And so I hope that's going to be a good one. I'm sure it is. But I would say Atomic Habits. For agents out there.
Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate all your time today, Mike. Getting to know you better has been awesome. I'm sure I'll see you at one of the next live events coming up here, and we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, Financial Freedom Forever podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me on. Good to see you, bud. Appreciate
it. Take care. Thank you. Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
All right, so the reason I love FFF is because everybody there that's able to help me when I need an answer, I can call them, I can message them, and they get back to me. That's why FFF is the best.
What I love most is that the collaboration here is so contagious, and we're all financially incentivized to help each other grow and be successful. It's each one teach one, and we're here to help each other grow.
What I love about the Financial Freedom Forever group is the collaboration. The wealth of knowledge we can tap into is incredible. I absolutely love is the mentorship and support, nonstop support. You have access to people's calendars that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to that get you further than you are right now.
To get your questions answered and learn more about how to partner with us, go to partnerwithandre.com or simply scan the QR code. Check out the videos, get on my calendar, and let's have a private conversation. See if you might be a good fit for us to work together and help grow your business to the next level.